Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. It has now been officially 21 days since election day, now going on 22 days, and boy do I have some big news for you out of the two remaining House races in the state of California. If you're a returning viewer of my channel, you know that I've been covering these three House races: Iowa's 1st District, California's 13th District, and California 45. These are the three remaining House races, and we have a very significant development happening in both of the House races in California. So I'm going to start now by looking at the races that we've been taking a look at. We're going to start with California 45. This is one where the Democratic challenger, Derek Tran, is leading Michelle Steele, the Republican, for about a little over 2 weeks now. That lead has grown a little bit to 50.1% to Michelle Steele, the Republican's 49.9%. And with 157,960 votes for Tran to 157,347 votes for Michelle Steele. And again, it's very, very close to being the votes in. It's over 95% of the vote in. And most estimates I've seen show that about 1% of the vote is remaining in this county and in California 13 as well. So we're going with the hypothetical that only 1% of the vote is remaining in this area. So taking 1% of the 315,000 votes would be about a little over 3,000 votes over what the remaining vote total is. So we're looking at about 3,100 or so votes left to count in this area. And it's a 600 vote lead for the Democrat right now over the Republican. So is this race still winnable for both candidates? Yes, it is. However, that's where the good news gets a little bit murkier for the Republican incumbent. In the prior video, Michelle Steele was leading Derek Tran in the Orange County district, the red district over here, by 50.7 to, I believe, it's 49.3. And I remember saying for Michelle Steele to come back and win this district, she needed to win the vote drops out of Orange County and by a significant number to boost her margins. Not only did she not hit those margins, it actually went down. It's now 50.6 to 49.4. So Derek Tran has actually improved his margin in this area of Orange County. And with only 1% of the vote remaining, again, we have to assume the final vote drop, a majority of the votes, will be coming out of Orange County. Michelle Steele still has a mathematical chance at winning this area, but it's going to be very, very tough when the latest vote drops have shown her not capable of gaining those votes back. So this is a race that I think has not been called yet because there is more than enough votes for both Tran and Steele to win this race. But the question is, where the votes are they coming from and how many votes are going to break for the candidate that wins them? For instance, again, right now, Derek Tran has about a 600 vote lead over Michelle Steele. 600 vote lead over Michelle Steele. So if we have the 3,150 votes remaining, then we're going to need a margin of victory for Steele of over 600, 650 votes or so to win the overall state out of this final vote drop. For that to happen, she's going to need to win somewhere around 65 to 70% of the remaining vote out there. And in a race right now that not only is it very close, but the Democrat is leading, she would basically have to outperform her current statewide total or district-wide total by about 20%. And that's going to be a very tough and daunting task. So I'm not sure how much longer this race is going to continue to be undecided. Even though it's only 0.2% separating the two candidates, 600 votes, it is extremely, extremely close. And there is enough math out there for Michelle Steele to win. But with each vote drop that comes in, it's getting more and more difficult for me to see Michelle Steele, the Republican incumbent, pulling off an upset against Derek Tran, the Democratic challenger. And I also don't have the graphic on here, but I did see a report that Michelle Steele, the Republican incumbent, has filed papers with the FEC, Federal Elections Commission, to run again in 2026. So whether she wins this race or not, it does appear she will be running for the Republican primary in 2026 for this race, which I think leads to me that it's possible this race is going to be called for Derek Tran, the Democrat, in the not too distant future after those final votes come in. So that's California 45. It looks like it's trending the Democrats' way. Now the California 13. California 13 is very fascinating because for a while the Republican incumbent John Duarte has been leading his Democratic challenger. That is now flipped with the latest vote drops that have come out of Merced County. Right now, Adam Gray, the Democratic challenger, has a lead of 50.03% to John Duarte's 49.97%. A lead of, get this, 105 votes for Adam Gray over John Duarte. This one is so incredibly close. And again, this is also going to be about 1% of the vote remaining to come out of this district. So let's break this down. First things first, in my last video, I mentioned when John Duarte had a very narrow lead over Adam Gray. The math at that time, if all the votes were in, obviously Duarte would have won, but the math at the time was not looking great for John Duarte. And the reason was the largest county, or largest district in this district overall, was coming right here, Merced County, District 13. And this is where a lot of the votes, or there was about 1% of the vote remaining, here 2% of the vote remaining, and these votes were splitting 51-49 for Adam Gray over John Duarte. And there was going to be more votes to come out of this area, and given 1% of the 82,000 votes, well, let's just do that math. 82,319 times 0.01. That would have been about 823 votes. And again, John Duarte at the time was leading by about 200 votes. So there was enough math there for Adam Gray to make up the margin and win, or take the lead over John Duarte just by that district alone. And it looks like that's exactly what happened. Now with over 95% of the vote in, Adam Gray is now leading John Duarte by about 105 votes. This is an incredibly close race that is still way too close to call before we have an actual answer on this one. Again, I'm taking the total vote and timing it by 1%, and there's approximately, according to my estimation, a little over 2,000 votes remain to be counted in this race, where the lead for Adam Gray right now is only 105 votes. This race is very close. It all depends on now where the votes are coming from. And I've heard some conflicting reports. I heard one saying that Stanislaus County is where some votes are remaining to come out of. This is going to be a 53%, 47% for the Democrat right now area. And so for John Duarte to win, based on the size of this county, let's do the math actually, because he has exact as we can. 57,409 votes times 0.01%. Oh, I messed up the math. Let me just double check. I want to get this 100% right. I don't want to say anything that's not correct here. Yeah, it would be about 574 votes remaining to come out of Stanislaus County. And depending on the margins in which they go, it is possible that Stanislaus County could give John Duarte either the lead back or potentially could significantly cut Gray's lead down to something like 10 or 15 votes. So this election is not over. This is incredibly close, but it's certainly looking like Adam Gray for the last few days have had the momentum in taking this race, and it is now officially flipped to Adam Gray on the Democratic side as more votes have come in. Again, we are 3 weeks since Election Day, so, I'm going to leave it at that. But as more votes have come in, the lead for Duarte is getting smaller and smaller now that Adam Gray is officially taking the lead at 50.03. John Duarte's at 49.97. And with about 2,000 votes to go and a margin of right now of only 105 votes, Adam Gray has the lead, but this race is certainly way too close to call. As for the areas in this district I'm watching for, San Joaquin County, this is one of the smaller parts of this district. It's going 54-46 for Gray over Duarte. Stanislaus County, the second largest district in this county, 53-47 for Adam Gray over John Duarte right now. Merced County, I believe, is all in, but in case there are any more straggling votes, this has come in 51-49 in Merced County for Gray over Duarte. It's hard to imagine John Duarte pulling this off if that does not get below 51%. Maybe if it gets down to 50.5 or something, Duarte can come back and win, but it's looking like Adam Gray is narrowly holding a lead in this district and in this area that Duarte needs to be winning. Madera County, 57-43 for Duarte over Gray, and Fresno County, 56-44 for Duarte over Gray. So that's the update right now for California 13 and the update for California 45. Something I had not done in my previous videos that I did want to mention was the Cook partisan voting index map of these districts. In California 13 with John Duarte, the Republican incumbent, it actually had the race listed as Democrat +4. So this district is Democrat +4. So when you look at it right now, looking back at California 13, a Democrat +4, John Duarte's running about 4 points more Republican than what the district typically is or is described as by Cook Political Index. So he's outperforming that Cook PVI by about 4 points. Looking at the Cook PVI for California 45, it is about Democrat +2. So Democrat +2. And again, you could say the same thing in Cook 45, that Michelle Steele is running about 2 points more Republican than what the Cook PVI is for this district. So that's where things stand right now in those two districts. It's 219 for the Republicans, 213 for the Democrats. It's now looking like if the election results stopped here, the Democrats would win California 13 and California 45, and that would get the Democrats up to 215 seats. Republicans would likely hold on to Iowa's 1st district, and that would get Republicans to 220, leaving the final House map at 220 to 215. But all the votes need to be counted first, and I'll keep doing videos updating you as numbers come in. Certainly a very interesting development happening in California. So that'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to give this video a like, click subscribe, share with your friends and family, and I hope to see you in a future video. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button and make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.